Sam Leavitt is the king of the best quarterback conference in college football, but he's got some serious competition.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, your guide for all things Sun Devils. From the court to the hardwood to the gridiron and everything in between. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Today's agenda, Sam Leavitt, the king of the Big 12. Don't forget about this one quarterback, though. But don't worry, I've got my personal top 5 of the Big 12 quarterbacks, and it was quite a difficult list to put together. And does any other conference in college football stack up? Well, I guess we'll talk about that at the end. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils and making us your first listen of the day. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Sam Leavitt, the king of the Big 12. I think so. And I don't see any reason why he can't be right now. Because here's the thing with Sam Leavitt. He's coming off of a terrific season. And a season nonetheless where he was probably one of the more overlooked quarterbacks in the conference, and again, for a valid reason, because Sam Leavitt had proven nothing. He was, first of all, a transfer to Arizona State and had only played in 4 games in his previous season with Michigan State. He looked fine. It was nothing special. So he comes to Arizona State, and he beats out Jaden Rashada, who was the starter for Arizona State in 3 games previously, but was one of the highest-rated recruits the program has had in the last 10-plus years. Beats him out. Rashada transfers. Now it's Levitt's job to lose. Spoiler alert, he did not lose the job. Starts off pretty solid. Ends the year one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Undeniably, undoubtedly, top 10 at worst. And he enters this year top 10 at worst. You'll find me of the opinion he's top 5. I don't know how many guys I'm taking ahead of him. It's pretty darn good, man. But last year, keep in mind he missed a game. Pretty good stats and one of the best statistical outputs that an ASU quarterback has had last 10 plus years. 2,885 passing yards, second most a freshman has recorded in program history. 24 touchdowns against 6 interceptions, plus 443 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. That's pretty darn good, and there's a reason why Arizona State ended the season on an absolute tear, and it's because of how good he was. I mean, he was leading ASU to wins last year. Keep in mind, they still had a good defense, and they had Cam Scatteroo, the people's running back. So it's not like Sam Leavitt didn't have options, and yet Leavitt was one of the biggest reasons that they were winning as many games as they were. He's going to be in a great situation this upcoming year. And honestly, even if he didn't have as good a situation as he has, he still will walk into this season as one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the conference. He's primed for a breakout, though, because he got better down the stretch throughout the season. Yeah, he had a not great statistical game against Texas, but if you want to watch the game and understand that he was under duress for pretty much the entirety of that game, then you can understand, like, oh, well, you know what? He did the most with what he could. And I'm not a moral victories guy. I've never been a moral victories guy. But you still have to be able to give credit where credit is due. Well, he's coming back this year. He has his number 1 receiver, Jordan Tyson, back. Jordan Tyson, one of the best receivers in the nation coming into this year. He still has Kenny Dillingham, and he still has Marcus Arroyo, his offensive coordinator. They are going to be able to place him in a situation for him to thrive and get better than he was last year. He's primed to be better. It's as simple as that. You see first round draft hype for him in the 2026 cycle. And that is a great quarterback class as of right now. And Levitt is being talked about as a potential first-round pick. There is reason for that. It is incredibly valid. As of right now, I don't know that he's not almost definitively quarterback one in this conference, but I'll tell you, there is a big time contender for that crown. And this is a guy who people are arguing is better than Levitt going into this year. And I'm curious how many people are actually like very aware of who this player is, because he had a very underrated season last year and he had one of the better seasons in the Big 12. And I don't remember a lot of people talking about him. A lot of people talked about Sam Leavitt. A lot of people talked about Jake Retzloff. A lot of people talked about Behren Morton and Rocco Becht, Avery Johnson. Those were great quarterbacks. Do not forget about Sawyer Robertson. Robertson is going to come into the year for me as the number 2 quarterback in the conference. And as someone who has gone on record several times, and the only thing that might change my opinion between now and whenever I do my way too early projections for the season is potentially everything that's going on at Texas Tech with Behren Morton. But right now, Sawyer Robertson is really good. I mean, for what it's worth, he performed better than Sam Leavitt did in the passing statistics. And again, Leavitt missed a game. That's worth noting. But Sawyer Robertson, also like Leavitt, really came alive down the stretch of the season. Ends up passing for 3,071 passing yards, 28 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Also had 230 rushing yards and 4 more scores. He is a very good, very well-rounded quarterback, and he is also coming back into a great situation. First of all, Bryson Washington is running back. He might be the best running back in the Big 12 as we enter this season. That kid is a superstar next level player. I am very curious, and again, I'll be taking a look at this probably in August or so for, the players who are the best at their positions in this conference going into the year. And I don't know how many guys stack up with Bryson Washington. He's also got Michael Trigg, a very underrated tight end, and his number 1 receiver, Josh Cameron, is returning. So similar to Leavitt, he's got a lot of guys returning. Dave Aranda is returning as his head coach. They have that stability there as well. And a quarterback who, just like Leavitt, just got stronger and stronger as the season progressed, is placing himself in just as great a situation as Sam Leavitt to break out this year. And he's already broken out, right? Just like Leavitt has broken out. But when I say breakout, I mean, these guys could both be exceptional this year. These guys could both be not just 2 of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12, but 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country. They are both just in such great situations. And again, there's a reason why I believe in Baylor to be my runner-up for the conference crown right now. And until further notice, that's really not changing. Like Texas Tech, they're on the mind for sure. And I go back and forth between the two. It's Texas Tech and Baylor for me right now with Arizona State. But Robertson just gives them a bit of an edge. And I am a fan of Behren Morton, but I do believe that Sawyer Robertson is the better quarterback between the two. And there is a very realistic chance that a quarterback who outproduced Sam Leavitt, albeit with an extra game, could do it again. And we know that Baylor has had great offenses many times before, thanks to great quarterback play. Sawyer Robertson gives them great quarterback play. I mean, at worst, you're looking at like a Bryce Petty kind of quarterback here. This is someone who can lift this Baylor team, not just to bowl eligibility, not just to relevance, but to a Big 12 title appearance. I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. And compared to the rest of the conference, there's some great guys, and I got my ranking coming up here in just a moment. I think that Robertson just stands above the rest. Those are my top 2 quarterbacks in the Big 12. I don't think it's close as of right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But I got my top 5 coming up next for you guys. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let me talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel, because the NBA playoffs, well, they're wrapping up. We got the NBA finals now. And if you are interested in watching the highlight performances and the major momentum shifts and the can't miss moments, combined with having some of your own fun, well, then FanDuel's the place for you to go, because it makes it easy to stay in the game. Before tip-off, live player performances, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever before to play smart and win big. Speaking of win big, new customers for FanDuel, this is the time to get started. Your first $5 bet, if and when it wins, will get you $200 in bonus bets. Place it on whatever you want. Who's going to make the big moments during the game? Probably Tyrese Halliburton, but go ahead and bet on Tyrese Halliburton to make that big point. You can go ahead and do it live. You can do it before the game. You can see who's heating up and make a same game parlay. It's brilliant. It's amazing. Again, if you're new to FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, that's $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks, as always, for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. This is one of the best conferences for college football quarterback play. And I have a top 10 or top 5 rather, but I had a difficult time, especially after number 3, because I feel pretty good about who my number 3 quarterback is. But number 4, number 5, and basically my honorable mention are guys that are really, really good. The other thing I want to note, and we'll talk about this at the end of the show too, most of these guys will be one of the biggest focal points for whether or not they have major success next season. But let's take a look at my top 5. Number 1, Sam Leavitt. Number 2, Sawyer Robertson. I already said that. No question. In my opinion, no debate. Number 3, I feel like you can go a few different directions here, but I am going with Avery Johnson, quarterback from Kansas State. And the reason why I like Avery Johnson is he is a really good athlete who has tons of potential and could potentially lead Kansas State to a Big 12 championship appearance. He is also that level of player. Now, I have my questions with Avery Johnson because there was a lot of plays left on the field as a passer. But you also have to assume, in the same way we're assuming with Sam Leavitt and with Sawyer Robertson, that he's going to continue to get better. And his staff is returning for him, and he's got good weapons. This is a quarterback who might be the best athlete in the conference. If you want to talk about dual threats, Avery Johnson may be the best dual threat in the league. And me and Christian Rao from Locked On Kansas State, if you did not check out our recent crossover, then do yourself a favor and check that out. It was a great sit down with a great guy. And we talk about Sam Leavitt versus Avery Johnson. But, I mean, that kid is a great runner. As far as pure athleticism goes, and as far as the quarterback position goes, he might be number 1. My number 4 quarterback, I'm going with Josh Hoover from TCU. And I feel like I may get some pushback from that. But I also look at Hoover, and he just feels really proven for me. He feels really steady for me. I'm also big on TCU this year. I think TCU is going to make a really nice comeback in 2025. And Hoover is going to be one of the main reasons for that. And once again, his coaching staff is back. So great situation for him to run it back with this team and be at least an above average quarterback, potentially one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Keep an eye on him for Big 12 awards at the end of the season. Number 5. This was so tough. Number 5 and my honorable mention, it might as well have been a coin flip. I mean, this was seriously such a tough decision for me to make. Between Behren Morton from Texas Tech and Rocco Becht from Iowa State. That was my choice. I went with the former. I went with Behren Morton for this situation. And the reason why is he is primed for much more success than Rocco Becht is. There is a serious holdback with Rocco Becht, and I'll get to that in a second. But Texas Tech, they are going to be a high-flying offense once again. They have the same coaching staff. That's pretty much the entire conference. But I'm still going to mention it anyways because it matters for these guys. But there's a lot of good things that are lining up for Behren Morton this year. And it's a Texas Tech team that is stacked across the board thanks to the heavy investments that they made through the transfer portal, which, by the way, beefed up their offensive line and it got some weapons. He's in a great situation to excel this year. Now, I do think he is a step behind the top 4 quarterbacks I have. But he is no worse than the top half of the league, which is top 8. And yeah, I feel pretty good about him being one of the 8 best quarterbacks in this conference, no matter how good it is. I like Behren Morton there. Now, Rocco Becht, Iowa State quarterback, he was the one that was right there for me. The reason I went with Morton over Becht is because of one massive change, or rather 2 massive changes. Rocco Becht will be adjusting to life without his top 2 receivers, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. Now, if you didn't know this, in the regular season, that was the only receiver duo in the country, not the Big 12, the country, to have 2,000-yard receivers. Ohio State did it by the end of the year, and Emeka Ibuka was able to get over that mark. But Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll were terrific. They're both gone. How are they going to adjust? They still got guys, but, wait and see mode. I got a few more guys I want to mention. Not keep an eye on. We'll get to that. Don't forget about Jalen Daniels from Kansas. He was another guy that I flirted with putting in my top 5, especially because he managed to stay healthy for the vast majority of the season last year at Kansas. He hasn't done that previously. He has been an insanely good, talented, high upside quarterback and a great runner at that. But he has struggled with health. That was not the case for the vast majority of last season. I think he may have been nicked up, but he played at a very high level, especially in the second half of the year. First half of the year, kind of dog water. I mean, he was a liability, and Kansas lost some bad games early in the season. But when he got established and he got comfortable in the legs underneath him, he was a really good quarterback. So I'm not forgetting about him. Don't worry, Kansas fans, if you tune in. Keep an eye on 3 quarterbacks in particular. Number 1, Connor Wegman at Houston. I think Houston has a chance to be bowl eligible this year. If they are, Connor Wegman is going to have to play up to his former 5-star status. And isn't that so much fun when we are looking at guys and we're like, oh yeah, former 5-star player. It's like, why is that what we're going to kind of thing? It's similar to like an NFL player, and it's like former 1st-round pick, and it's like, okay, I feel like you may be trying to sell me a little more on the player than what they are. So Connor Wegman, pay attention to him. He's very intriguing. He's had some injury issues and was banged up last year. I do think Houston's going to take a pretty nice step forward this year, but it's going to hang on Connor Wegman. Devin Dampier at Utah. He dominated at New Mexico last year. Decides to transfer to Utah, a much bigger platform for him. And Utah is still a good team, especially defensively. I mean, that team is just about as good as it gets, but the offense has been a liability in recent years. And Dorian Singer and Brant Keithy were not enough last year to help this quarterback situation get over the hump. And not a surprise because they had a horrible quarterback situation. Devin Dampier can hopefully and likely change that. At least at a bare minimum, he will make them more competitive. But the bar is low. That's okay. Devin Dampier, another guy you could argue is the best athlete in the conference. This kid ran for 1,000 yards last year with the Lobos. Is he doing that with Utah? I'm betting on the under, but there's a chance that a Utah team who has aspirations to win the conference, he could help get them there. Last quarterback I want to mention, Juju Lewis at Colorado. True freshman, 5-star at one point, buck down to a 4-star, whatever. He has big shoes to fill in Colorado because their quarterback who just got his number retired, whatever that's worth, in Shedeur Sanders is gone. And Shedeur Sanders, love him or hate him, put up big time numbers at Colorado. I mean, that's undeniable. Say whatever you want. He put up big numbers. Juju has a lot to live up to, and he also has to earn the starting role because Caden Slater transfers in from Liberty. Caden Slater, another great athlete. Man, what a theme. I feel like this is going to matter later on in the show. We'll see. But Caden Slater had some pretty good numbers at Liberty, especially as a runner. Juju Lewis, I really like him, and I think that he's the future of this program beyond 2025. I don't know that Caden Slater is going to be the long-term solution. In fact, I don't know if he has another year of eligibility. But we'll wait and see. Juju Lewis, definitely someone that I'm going to be keeping my eye on because I would not be surprised if he was the starter at some point early or by mid-season for this team. Look, the Big 12, pretty good at quarterback. Is it the best conference for quarterbacks in the country? That's coming up next on the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Again, you guys are the best for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils and making us your first listen of the day. Special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Look, if you're looking for your next listen of the day, I got a handful. Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin. Locked On Big 12 with Drake Toll. Locked On The Portal with Brian Smith. If you're looking for all-around coverage, those are the guys to go check out. All right. Is the Big 12 the best quarterback conference in college football? Is there any other conference that competes? Short answer, nope. Okay, there we go. Thanks for tuning in. We don't need to talk about anything else. Except we do, because I know that this show can and likely will be found by other fans of other programs who have pretty good quarterbacks. And I want to be able to address them because it matters. The other three, we're only going through the Power Five. ACC, Big 10, SEC. In that order for me. And then behind the Big 12. So ranking the top four for me, Big 12, SEC, Big 10, ACC. I'll get to why in a second. And I'll tell you why I'm leaning towards the Big 12 over all of them as we round this out. Starting with the ACC. I mean, this conference has probably the best quarterback in college football with Cade Klubnik at Clemson. He started off his first 2 years as the status of former 5-star. Like, he did not look good. And then last year, just everything clicked. And he was a Heisman contender, and he is my pick, my way too early pick to win the Heisman Trophy this year. There's a chance for him to be the number one draft pick in 2026. There's a chance for him to be quarterback one in 2026, be the best quarterback in college football this year. He had such an insane uptick in his level of play. And guess what? Got a lot of guys returning. None more so than Antonio Williams, another terrific wide receiver in the sport. And he's got TJ Parker, and he's got Brian Wesco, I believe. If I mistaken him with someone else, my apologies. He's got a lot of guys to throw to, though. And Cade Klubnik, very, very good. But the rest of the conference, too. Carson Beck is at Miami. I am not of the belief that Carson Beck stinks. He stunk last year. He was not healthy last year. We need to go back to 2023 when he was just a really good passer who could hit every level of the field. He was precise. He was trending towards first-round status. He is going to a Miami program that did something very similar with Cam Ward. Cam Ward was pretty good at Washington State. He gets to Miami. He is one of the Heisman contenders. He is one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and he goes on to be the number one pick. Yep, that's the situation I want to go to. He's in a good spot. Miller Moss at Louisville. Did he get benched at USC last year? Yes. Is that indicative of him playing bad? I don't think so. I'm still a Miller Moss fan. So keep an eye on him because Louisville is another team who will be contending for an ACC championship appearance. Speaking of ACC championship appearances, how about Kevin Jennings from SMU? Yeah, they put up numbers last year. He's back. Kevin Jennings might be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in college football right now. Do not sleep on him. One more quarterback worth mentioning, in my opinion, is Darian Mensah. At Duke, he is taking over for, oh my goodness, of course I can't remember his name. The kid transferred to Oregon State. But it's going to be an interesting step up for him. He dominated Tulane let's try again. He dominated at Tulane last year. He's making a jump up in competition. He's going to Duke. And it's not like Duke. Malik Murphy is the quarterback I was thinking of. Malik Murphy last year, pretty darn good season with Duke, and now he's moved on to Oregon State. We'll see how that goes. Darian Mensah definitely needs to step up and be able to keep Duke in contention for being a bowl-eligible team and potentially competing in the conference. Here's my verdict. It's a good conference. It is a top-heavy conference. If you take Cade Klubnik out of this conference, they're mid. But you have Cade Klubnik, and that matters. Big Ten, very interesting conference. Led, of course, by Drew Aller. Penn State took Penn State to the semifinals of the college football playoff, had 2 playoff wins after many were wondering, can this kid get it done? Can James Franklin, the head coach of the Nittany Lions, get it done? I'd say 2-1 in your first playoff appearance is pretty darn good. They played really tough football. Drew Aller took some massive strides forward this year. Look, he was a pretty good precision passer in 2023. He had 2 interceptions, I believe. Last year, did he throw more interception? Yeah, he did. But his completion percentage went from the 50s into the 60s. He's a good quarterback. There's a lot of very intriguing quarterbacks in this conference. And first of all, if Drew Aller doesn't lead this conference, it's Luke Altmaier at Illinois. Do not be mistaken. In fact, there's a very good argument that he's like the undisputed number 1 quarterback in the Big Ten. How many of you knew that? Hopefully, majority of you guys did. Because if you don't, then you got to catch up. Because Luke Altmaier is certified good at football. He airs that bad boy out. The rest of the conference, though, very intriguing. Fernando Mendoza at Indiana, transferring in from Cal. People are really excited for him. He is going to take over for Curtis Rourke, one of my personal favorite players from college football last year. Indiana won 11 games last year. There's going to be expectations on Fernando Mendoza to have success, not to win 11 games, but to have success once again. You have Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, up and down freshman year, still showed a lot of potential. The rest of this conference, tons of upside. Bryce Underwood, number 1 overall recruit in the country from this high school cycle, playing at Michigan. I have big hopes for Michigan this year. I'm on that train. Julian Sayin at Ohio State, one of the former top recruits in the country. He transferred in from Alabama. He sat last year to learn the team and the system, and he's going to be playing this year with a great offense. Would not be surprised if he ended up becoming a big deal. Jordan Mayava from USC got to start some games last year for the Trojans. He's going to have to stave off other competition, but as of right now, until further notice, he's probably the starter. Nico Iamaleava, don't forget about him, transferred from Tennessee to UCLA. Up and down season last year. There was some good spots and there was some very questionable spots. Let's see how he does it this year, but UCLA should be able to make steps forward. One more guy I want to mention, Damon Williams at Washington. Local Valley kid. Let's see how he does. Here's my verdict. This is a pretty good conference of quarterbacks, but there's a lot of movement. New quarterbacks, Michigan, Ohio State, UCLA, USC, I would say USC, Washington, Indiana, Oregon, potentially Michigan State to see what happens with Aiden Childs. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of young guys, too, that are unproven. It's a super high upside conference, but it's not quite there for me. And then the number 2 SEC for me. It starts with Garrett Nussmeier, not Arch Manning, but Arch Manning's right there for very obvious reasons. But Garrett Nussmeier is also going to be a Heisman contender this year. He's going to be in contention for leading the country in passing yards. He is going to be in contention for leading the country in passing touchdowns. He's going to be in contention for leading the country in interceptions. But he's good at football. After having to take over for the Heisman Trophy winner, number 2 overall pick, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, he did some good things. That offense is loaded once again. Arch Manning, one of the best situations for him to walk into in college football. Yeah, Matthew Golden is gone. Isaiah Bond is gone. Their tight end Gunnar Helm is gone. They don't have the running back Blue was his last name. I can't remember his first name. There's a lot of change. Well, guess what? He's got a lot of guys that are going to be playing on this team too. So Quintravian Wisner is back at running back. Hopefully CJ Baxter is healthy. The wide receiver room should be just fine. They got 2 5-stars coming in with, oh my goodness, what are their names? Jaime French and Kalik Lockett. Ryan Wingo is still there. They just have a very good situation. There's guys I am forgetting off the top of my head who are going to be good players for them. Arch Manning is also just phenomenal, and he's playing with Steve Sarkisian. He's going to be fine. Lenore Sellers, South Carolina kid. There's people who believe he is the best redshirt sophomore quarterback going into this year ahead of Sam Leavitt and some other guys that will be contending. He's really good. He's a dual threat. South Carolina is a good football team. Diego Pavia. I'm a big Diego Pavia fan, if you know me. I don't talk about him on the podcast for obvious reason, but if you follow me on Twitter, you know that Diego Pavia is one of my boys at Vanderbilt. They went bowling last year. They can go bowling again this year. John Mateer at Oklahoma, one of the best, not free agent, might as well be free agent, one of the best transfer additions from the portal this past offseason coming from Washington State. He will hopefully take the Sooners back to where they want to be. DJ Lagway, Jackson Arnold, potentially Cade Cunningham at Alabama, the younger guys, former 5-stars, Lagway at Florida, Jackson Arnold now at Auburn, previously at Oklahoma. Those guys could be really big deals. And then Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, I'm very intrigued with him, especially in a Lane Kiffin offense. That's a pretty darn good conference of quarterbacks. My verdict, this is definitely the closest. And I would understand if you went SEC over Big 12. I totally would. There's a ton of upside here. I mean, Nussmeier, great quarterback, proven quarterback. Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, John Mateer, DJ Lagway, Jackson Arnold, potentially Ty Simpson or Cade Cunningham at Alabama. A lot of high upside kids here. I'm going with the Big 12 because there are more proven quarterbacks as of right now. But that could easily change because of how high of upside these kids have. I mean, Nussmeier, Manning, Sellers, Mateer, and Lagway are all guys I could see contending for the Heisman Trophy at some point during the year. Keep an eye on them. Overall, why am I going with the Big 12? Well, we said earlier that, and many times throughout the show, this is a very proven quarterback conference, and I'm going with them until further notice. But one of the other reasons is that these quarterbacks in the conference of the Big 12, they're going to be the biggest reasons for the majority of their teams for them going to bowl games and potentially contending for the Big 12 title. These other quarterbacks on the list, yeah, they're going to be a huge part of their success as well for their respective programs. They have teams built around them that if they don't play well, they can still succeed. I'm not saying that's the case in the Big 12. There are good programs in the Big 12 that are good from top to bottom, offense and defense. But the quarterback play in the Big 12 is much more important than the rest of the conferences. More than anything, they have the most proven quarterbacks here. They have quarterbacks, again, that are going to uplift their teams. And we know a lot more about the Big 12 compared to the Big 10, the SEC, and the ACC when it comes to quarterback play. A lot of projection. Could all three of those conferences be better? Yeah, they could. There's a ton of 5-stars in there. There's a ton of potential Heisman Trophy contenders. But until we see it, yeah, give me the Big 12 on every day of the week, every day that ends in Y, and twice on Saturdays. What do you guys think? Am I crazy for saying Big 12 over the SEC? Who do you like to win the Heisman? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter as well, at RichieBrads36. The podcast is there at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. You'll get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils, for making us your first listen of the day. And shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Don't forget, every Thursday we have the Big 12 squad to have some great conversations with all of the hosts across the best conference in college football. Me and Locked On Big 12 host Drake Toll will be sitting down this week to talk about ASU plenty and how they compare to the rest of the conference. I'll keep you posted. Till next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.